I don't work from here much just because it's too easy. It's a small community, so you see someone, you chat, you have a beer, then you have a second beer and your old day's gone to shit. So we try to, sorry if you gotta edit that out. But so I try to work from home, and then once we're done, this is more of a relaxing place for us to come and hang out and, just make sure everything is running smoothly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. Today we are in the beautiful Gatineau, Quebec area along Rue Principale. We are at 5e Baron, and joining us is Jacob from 5e Baron.
Hi, nice to have you guys over.
Thank you very much for hosting us today. Very beautiful day, as you could say, filming outside, which is rare for us, so it's nice to see it.
Yeah. Awesome. We've got a great patio, great space for that, so it's only natural that
we'll definitely have pictures afterwards on our Instagram and everything, so people who are checking us out can check you guys out, which is great. You brought me out some great beers to try today. What's number one I'm trying here?
Number one is Sous Soleil de Rio. So we've got a fruited Goza series, which we basically name under the sun of a certain city. And whatever fruit we use is going to determine under which sun it is. So this one being lime, and the Goza, for those listening who don't know, is a German wheat beer brewed with salt and coriander, and this one's brewed with lime zest. So under the sun of Rio would be number one. So it's got some really nice, obviously the salt, the coriander, and the lime really gives it some sort of like margarita vibes. So super refreshing. It's a 5% beer. So it's a series we put out during the summer, and then, like I said, rotating fruit series.
Very cool. Toast. So I see you're drinking toast.
Yeah,
so from friend of the brewery, I guess.
Yes, I'm drinking seltzer from City Seltzer. The good folks at Dominion City make these, and they make for a really nice non-alcoholic option.
All right.
Yeah. Cheers.
Oh, that's the right type of Goza.
So you hit with the salt, coriander, the base Goza, and then the lime just really pops.
Yeah,
it makes it extra refreshing and dry. And
the summer beerness, as I like to say, like this is a summer beer. This is something I could sit on a patio, be in a kayak on the Rideau Canal, and just have a few of these.
Yeah, that's what it's designed for. So we don't put those out in the winter. They tend not to do as well. Having said that, we never tried it. It's just more of philosophy, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like to bring those out in the summer months.
Very cool. So what's the story of 5e Baron? What the creation of the brewery?
So we're three partners in the brewery, and we always tell the story because it's the craziest thing. Like the three of us didn't know each other before we started this project and embarked on this journey. So we were three locals, three people from Aylmer, with Aylmer being a sector in the bigger city of Gatineau. We try to say Aylmer as much as possible because it was force fusion, I guess, and we still call it Aylmer. But the three of us sort of separately had the idea to start up a brewery. My background is in design and marketing. My partner Steven was an entrepreneur before that. He was looking on his side to start up a brewery, and Dimitri, our other partner, is a microbiologist and brewer. So we felt between the three of us, we covered quite a bit of ground in terms of what was necessary to launch a successful brewery. So we got talking. We all sort of met through a local beer bar, which used to be here and is now up the street, called L'Autreuil. And so sort of connections were made through that place. Everybody was expressing interest, and Dimitri was a server at L'Autreuil, so we all sort of talked to him one way or another. So we got together and started, we figured out we were aiming for the same thing and got to work on a business plan. So it took us 3 years from when we met to actually launching the brewery. So it was quite the process, finding a spot. As you can see, we're on the main street, and we need a certain amount of space in order to accommodate a brewery. So that wasn't possible here. So we found a promoter who was willing to build an addition in the back for the production area. So that way we were able to set up shop on Principale, and this is where we wanted to be. So all worked out.
Yeah, it's a very neat little area when you think about it. It's, kind of homes that are turned into businesses. It's very unique, so.
Yeah, it's almost like heritage. Like some of these homes are heritage homes, so they're protected. We've got a beautiful marina at the bottom of the street, right at the end of the street, with a nice large beach. There's tons of coffee shops and restaurants and shops all over Principale, so it's a really fun place to be operating out of.
So you guys opened during the pandemic or just before the pandemic, or how did?
So I was telling the story last night. So by the time we were finishing up the renovations in the tap room, the last day where we finished everything up was when construction shut down, and it was like a full-out pandemic, everybody stay home kind of thing. So we got scared a little bit because you're opening under circumstances you hadn't foreseen, obviously. So yeah, it was a bit rough waters at first, but we opened up with cans to go. So we quickly switched to canning everything as opposed to kegging and canning, because this place is a production area, but it's also a tap room. So we had to keep adjusting every couple of weeks. So it was interesting. We still don't know what the business is like under normal circumstances for a full year. Like, for example, we don't know what a winter's like.
Yeah.
So we'll get to experience all that.
I think you're our fourth brewery now in the 90 plus episodes we've done that have opened during the pandemic. You, Third Moon, Spark, and I can't remember the other one right now, but it's like the fact that you guys open and you're successful, and as I mentioned pre-show, you guys were rated #1 new brewery in Quebec last year. It's like we've obviously did something right.
Yeah, and we've got, mentioning Third Moon, we've got like a cool little connection with them. We opened on the exact same day. So we've been going back and forth. Like for our first year anniversary, we did a collaboration here. They did and there as well. So us being Fifth Baron and Third Moon being Third Moon, we called the beer here Third Baron and the beer there Fifth Moon. And also, the #1 brewery in Quebec, we on RateBeer Award, we finished #3 best new brewery in the world, and they finished fifth best new brewery in the world. So that 3 and 5 is just all over the place between us. So we're hoping to keep that tradition of a yearly collaboration going.
You guys are married now. You don't realize it, but now you're married. So you got to keep it together.
Sure.
Jacob and Bebo beer. That's what I'm waiting for.
There you go.
Perfect. Now you're in a more residential-ish area when you think about it. Did the city of Aylmer or Gatineau really be like, we don't know about a brewery, or were they very open to the idea of bringing you guys in?
No, they were very open. It looks like a bunch of houses, but actually the new urbanism rule, or the current urbanism rule, is that first floors on Principale have to be commercial.
Okay. So
there's a lot of businesses. There's more popping up, and the city really just embraced having a brewery on a main street. We've been lucky with L'Autre that I mentioned previously. They've been open for I think it's 23 years now. So people in Aylmer have been accustomed to drinking good craft beer because of that bar and their history, their roots in Aylmer. So no, the community responded super well. The city was ecstatic that more breweries were opening up. So it all worked out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Any other kind of, 3 guys getting together creating a brewery, any other difficulties, like you didn't know how to get a permit, you didn't know this, like any other roadblocks or problems creating Cinquième Baron or Fifth Baron?
Yeah, quite a bit of roadblocks, hence the 3 years before we were able to open. It's a bunch of stuff we hadn't done before, like going through financing. So it was just getting the right partners to finance everything and find partners that believe in the project. We were supposed to open up at another location on Principale, but something went sideways there, and we had to readapt and find a new spot. So that slowed down the opening. And then, like I said, just finding a spot that was able to accommodate a brewery was a challenge in and of itself. And we were pretty dead set on being on the main road on Principale, so it was just a matter of being patient and waiting to find the right opportunity.
I love the location. I think it's great. You guys do have a wide open area, beautiful trees on the side, nice big patio in the front. I saw there were some tables in the back too. I don't know if that's also you or is that
that's
spillover?
Yeah, it is. So we have one of our employees who's starting up a farm. Well, not starting up a farm. He's got the farm, but he's starting up a restaurant.
Okay.
To go along with the farm. And he does wood-fired pizzas back here every Friday.
Oh.
So usually it gets pretty busy here. So the staff and a few people from the brewery were hanging out on the patio. And when it gets busy, we just dip in the back and leave the space for our customers.
Very cool.
So that's that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wood-fired pizza too. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they're pretty good too. So if ever you make it back, make sure to make it a Friday.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous that we only came here on a Saturday now. Beer number 2 is Blaser, from what I saw.
Blaser, yeah.
Okay.
So it's our newest New England Pale Ale. I think people have taken a liking to our New England Pale Ales. We found there was a gap in the market in Quebec in terms of people who like hazies, but also like lower ABV stuff. I myself have a preference for lower ABV beers, and there's quite a few people at the brewery who prefer them as well. So we still make the double IPAs, we still make the regular 7, 6.5, whatever percent, but we like a nice 5.5% beer, and then we like our hops as well. So so that's our latest one.
Yeah, it's nicer too because like 5% below beers, I could have a few more beers, which means I could support local a little more that way. So that's the way I see it. You know, if I come back and I pound back 2 or 3 7% beers, I'm going to be on the floor.
You're done, right?
Where I can have 4 or 5 at least lower percentage beers. So
yeah, and we feel a sense. For some reason, we've always felt a bit of a sense of responsibility for when we distribute beer as well, in terms of bars and restaurants, especially restaurants. You know, we like people to be able to have a few if they choose to, not just get blasted with an 8% or a couple of 8% beers or 10% or whatever. So we like to always have a variety of lower ABV stuff on tap.
No, it's a great mindset.
Thank you.
Toast.
Cheers. Yeah, back to my water. There you go.
Seltzer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, nice and juicy. This one's a bit thinner than the other ones we've made. We wanted to do something a bit different. We've got Celeste, which is sort of like our main New England Pale Ale. And then we've got some that sort of rotate, and Blaser, it was the first time we were doing Blaser, so.
It's got a unique taste. I've never tasted in a pale ale before. I'm just trying to figure out what that is. Like what fruit that is. Is it like kumquat or something? I can't really tell. I don't exactly have a refined palate. I like to say I have a consumer palate, which is like, oh, I like it or I don't.
I like it or not, yeah.
So that's the way I play. Cinquième Baron, Fifth Baron. How'd you guys come up with that name?
So the name is we were trying to find. I love historical connotations and names and branding. I just have a knack for that for some reason. And with Fifth Baron, we wanted to, you know, sort of brand ourselves as the local brewery where locals would feel right at home. So Fifth Baron, the name came from the old Governor General that was sent to the area. He was in Aylmer. He was known for reconciling Francophones and Anglophones. And Aylmer is very, I'd say it's roughly, 35, 65, 60-40 kind of thing between Francophones and Anglophones. So his name was Matthew Whitworth Aylmer, and he was the 5th Baron Aylmer. So in his lineage, his father was like the 4th Baron, his grandfather was the 3rd Baron.
Okay.
So he was the 5th Baron Aylmer, so we decided to call it Cinquième Baron for that.
You're going to have to speak with Duncan from Cardinal and Hudson now, because he's working on a PhD in history before he went to brewing. So
right on.
Maybe you guys talk in the future. That's
all
I'm saying. That's great. Your labels and your names are very unique. Who came up with that? Obviously, so you're into marketing. Are you more or less on this side of the business, like dealing with the labeling and dealing with graphic artists and things like that? Or? Yeah,
so I do most of the graphic design for the brewery. So most of the labels, sometimes we'll collaborate on beers, and then we'll have an invited artist to work on it for us. But yeah, I just try, as you'll notice, I mean, the can design is we don't deviate much from it. It's it's a pretty solid grid. We try to keep our name in white, our logo in white, the beer style in white. There's a few exceptions, and then I like to play around with typography and imagery that sort of is either in direct link to the beer name or is a more subtle reference. Like for example, we've got Broken Q in front of us here. So Broken Q is an old pool hall in Aylmer. So pool hall and arcade, so that's why it's the background is of an arcade. We've got Hippie Rock, that's a really popular beer for us, which, you know, on the outside looking in, you would think it's like hippie rock music, but it's actually a large rock surface in the woods here in Aylmer where we used to hold bush parties. So the locals get the reference, and to other people, it's still a cool sounding name. So we try to throw these little winks at the community every now and then and make it feel like extra special, like it's our own little thing here in Aylmer.
I love it. It's like we said with the show with the whole pandemic is like support local, you know. Yeah. I'll go to my local beer store in Verdun, multi-hops, and, you know, oh, Fifth Baron, sweet. But then most of the time you guys are unfortunately sold out there, so I'm on the other end of the stick when it comes to that. But it's like, oh yeah, I'll grab these guys, and sometimes just my eye is drawn to labels instead of, I don't care what the beer is, I want to try it because the labels look cool. You know, I'll grab you guys, or Pixel is very popular because it's like old school video games. Yeah. Coming from my generation, it's like, oh, I have to buy this. Even
it speaks to us.
Even
right?
if the beer was poison, I'd be like, this is the coolest label I've ever bought.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
It's I love that kind of stuff too, and like you're bringing out all the local stuff, like you said, mentioned Hippie Rock, the Rocks formation, the Broken Q. So it's very, very cool, very unique that you're grabbing stuff from hometown Aylmer and putting it into the beer.
And we try to give different beers or different styles their own. Sorry, we'll just wait for this guy. But we try to follow sort of like a line. Like our West Coast IPAs are named after trees that grow on the Pacific North. So we try to do that with our West Coast IPAs. Our double IPAs, New England IPAs, sometimes will stay within a hip hop theme sort of elements. We've got like crossfader, mixtape, Cypher, a bunch of 5 mics. So we've got a bunch of different names. And then for our lagers and our more traditional styles, we try to really go deep into the style's history and come up with names that have some significance to the historical side of those beers. So.
What was the first ever beer that came out of Saint-Can barrel?
To officially come out of here, so the first beer we put in a can was Two Tails Pils. The second one was Mixtape Red, but I'd say that the beer we've been working on the longest is Des Moines, which is our Helles lager. It's just something where we like that style of beer. We brewed dozens of that version before we opened up, trying to nail the grain bill, and there was just a level of complexity to it that was interesting to us. Aside from the taste and the style in general, like the complexity was a nice challenge for us. So I'd say that's a bit of our brewery baby here. As you can see, it's Des Moines all over the place. So so yeah, we try to push that one a little bit more, as it's a brewery favorite.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Like it. Do you personally brew at all, or is that?
No, I tried my hand at home brewing a couple of times, and it was an epic failure. So I decided to leave that to the pros and just focus on what it is I can control.
Yeah, no, it's not an easy thing. I mean, a couple interviews just before this one, we interviewed a home brewer, and he had 9 lines in his basement, and we're just like, I would never be able to leave my house. I would just drink here all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's I don't work from here much, just because it's too easy. It's a small community, so you see someone, you chat, you have a beer, then you have a second beer, and your old day's gone to shit. So we try to you gotta edit that out. But so I try to work from home, and then once we're done, this is more of a relaxing place for us to come and hang out and just make sure everything is running smoothly. Yeah.
So you mentioned you've already collabed with Third Moon. Any other collabs that you've done in the area, whether it be with the pizza guys or food or any coffee or coffee places like for your stouts, anything like that?
Yeah. So we've done coffee beers with local coffee roasters called Brown Bag, and for the collaboration with Third Moon, they sent us coffee from their roaster, which is called Morning Roast, I think. Okay. And we sent them coffee from Brown Bag. So we've done that. We've done collaborations with Gallicus, À la Dérive, Bas Canada, which are four local breweries and good friends of ours. We've done stuff with L'Autreuil right up the street. Trying to think, we've done quite a few breweries, collaborations. I mean, we try to collaborate with local businesses as well. Like there's an upcoming art festival from an art gallery called L'Imagier down the street. So we're going to brew a beer for their festival. Transistor, which is a cool podcast and a spot right up the street. So we did their festival as well, collaboration for that. We jammed with Foam in Burlington, Vermont on a beer for our anniversary called Postal Service. They've been super good friends of ours, and they helped us with information when we were trying to open up the brewery. So yeah, I'd say we collaborate quite a bit. We try to keep it local as much as possible, but every now and then we'll jam with somebody on something outside of the area.
Well, I mean, even Burlington, like Foam, you're supporting local in a sense because so many Quebecers travel to Vermont all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And it was nice to bring a bit of Foam flavor to the Quebec side during the pandemic, because all of us were missing crossing into Vermont. So they sent us hops from Champlain Valley Hops. We then did a collaboration with them as well. So it was nice to get a bit of a taste of Vermont up here.
Any future collabs that you can mention, or any dream collabs?
Dream collabs?
Yeah.
Not that I can think. I mean, personally, my favorite brewery is Allagash out of Portland in Maine. I just have tons of respect for, I guess, the old school guys that I've been listening to in terms of marketing and podcasts. So I love listening to Sam Calagione from Dogfish. Rob Todd from Allagash has been a huge inspiration. So I'd say a collaboration with Allagash, which is probably never going to happen. But in upcoming collaborations, we've got something for the art festival I was telling you about. So I'd say that's the main one coming up. But we should have more stuff coming down the pipeline for the rest of the year.
Very cool. So beer number 3 I got here.
Beer number 3 is Juniper. So we like our New England Pale Ales. We also love our West Coast IPAs and our West Coast Pale Ales as well, our traditional American Pale Ale. So deeper in color, pineier, fruitier. So that's like where, a lot of people forgot where the hoppy beers came from. Not the hoppy beers, but the IPA style with the haze craze and all. So we try to bring it back a little bit to the old school West Coast hoppy beers. And so that's I believe our 3rd American Pale Ale. So it's just one we really enjoy. Recently we started working on cheese pairings as well, and this is one we thought did well with a few of the cheeses that are available at the brewery right now. So
very cool. Toast.
Cheers. Thank you to City Seltzer, keeping me hydrated through this.
Well, it is early for you, right? So
yeah, a little bit.
It's a solid beer.
Yeah, really
tasty.
good beer. It's again, lower ABV stuff. It's stuff that we like to make and consume ourselves, and have available on tap. So
yeah, as we mentioned before, it's it's technically more money when people are buying more beers, so why not have them lower ABV? You don't have to worry about a drunk driver being on the road and things like that.
For sure, yeah.
It's a lot more responsible. You guys aren't easily accessible for people who are outside of town, so obviously somebody coming from Ottawa for the day, just have like 2 of these and then
exactly. Good, so. And we like to have variety on tap as well, so that's a nice beer for us.
This is my favorite so far, but we'll see about the last one, because the last one usually sticks to the color that I drink with.
There you go.
So this is a common question I've asked. I've had to adjust things recently. So it's beer. It comes to beercations, so vacations for beer exclusively. Now I've had it when it's safe to travel again, obviously, because right now Canadians aren't really welcome in America or anywhere else in the world. But a beercation you'd love to go on, and then there's 2 that I asked now. One where I have to come back to Saint-Quay-Baron and have a business. 2 is I won $50 million on Lotto Max, so I can sell my part of the brewery and go on like the ultimate
So you want me to
travel beer
answer
occasion.
both of those?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so the first one was what again?
I still have to come back to work. I have a job.
I still have to come back. I mean, my wife and I are big on traveling, so we're going to travel regardless. But as soon as the U.S. reopens, we're going to cross into Vermont, see some friends, and do the stuff we like to do. There's just some restaurants we love going, breweries we love visiting, friends, and hotels where we like to stay.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that for sure. We're hoping to travel a bit with the brewery. So Dimitri, my partner and brewer here at the brewery, is originally from Lyon in France.
Okay.
And they have a pretty sizable beer festival now. So just in terms of, going back to where he's from and sort of homeward bound kind of thing for him. We'd love to go there and possibly brew a special beer for that occasion. I know we'd like to bring some of our staff to visit. We actually have the debate on a weekly basis, but we like to bring some of our staff to either Belgium or Germany and the Czech Republic. So we see those as two separate trips, just to learn more about the beer styles there. So it's something we're looking forward to do. We'll end up doing both, but it's just like, which one do we do first?
Yeah.
So I'd say it seems to be a pretty unanimous decision for Belgium. So I'm looking forward to going back there and experiencing a bunch of different beers and hopefully chatting with brewers there and visit a few spots and get to soak it all up.
Yeah, I know I'm one who I'd love to go to an old Trappist monastery and drink with monks. I think that'd be the coolest thing ever. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite beers is Rochefort 10. Mm-hmm. So just visiting those old world breweries would be quite something, I think.
There's not a lot of Trappist styles in North America, I find. I think there's one in Vermont. I think there's a Trappist brewery.
There's one in Massachusetts, I believe, called Spencer.
Okay.
So I think they're the only North American one. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I know that was the latest one that was added to the official Trappist list. But I think there's Spencer down there. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's the same experience as going to the Netherlands. There's one in Italy and the restaurant in Belgium, I believe. So yeah.
No, it's obviously outside North America would be great, but as you're mentioning, it's just I never thought I'd miss Vermont this much.
Oh, for sure.
It's
sucks. Not even the beer about
No.
Vermont; it's the people and the landscape.
It's
a lot of things. So it's been Vermont was an inspiration in terms of the local economy there, how friendly people are. So it's something we try to work as much with local businesses to make the whole area shine as a whole, because it's not just us. I mean, you can stop by here and have a beer. You can have a great meal at about 5-6 different restaurants. There's a great beer bar. There's great shops. So it's a full experience really to visit Aylmer.
So I asked this of most breweries. Somebody comes here, tries all your fantastic beers. Any friends in kind of the immediate area that you suggest, now that you've had our beer, go try these guys, go try these guys?
Oh, I'd recommend. I mean, Bas-Canada, À la Dérive, Gallicus, all make some nice stuff. There's Hoffman also. They're a bit further out, but I really like what they're doing. There's if you want to drink good beers, L'Autreuil right up the street have huge selection. There's Clandestin in Hull, which is a restaurant with a pretty solid beer selection as well. Really good food. Barlupulus in Ottawa is a really good option as well. And there's tons of great breweries in Ottawa: Tooth and Nail, Dominion City, Small Pony. Some of them I haven't even tried yet, but there's tons of great breweries in Ottawa as well.
I know you guys have food as well. Is there a food and beer pairing? It's more or less like pub fare, and then here's a beer.
So it's a super simple menu. We work with Cafe Mulligan, which is right up the street. They make our sandwiches. They use a bread made from across the street from them, from Boulangerie Les Deux Frères. And then they use pestos from Marcello Farms, which is also from Aylmer and in Aylmer. And other than that, it's cheese and charcuterie board, which is a really good cheese and charcuterie board.
Cheese and charcuterie.
Yeah, so it's a super simple menu. menu, and then we have pop-up kitchens. We have our friend from Soleil doing pizzas every Friday. There's actually a parking spot right in front of the street reserved for food trucks. So we'll invite a bunch of different people over and try to do events around food, and then we focus on the beer mainly.
I've always been about, even before the pandemic, support local.
Yeah.
See, I want you guys to stay around. I want more of you guys, to be honest. So just the more I support you, maybe somebody's like, oh, well, if all these guys are coming here all the time, maybe if I open something down the street, I can also draw that crowd at the same time. And to me, it's shared love. I've always have enough money to buy for places I like. So the most frustrating part being in Montreal is I don't get to my local beer store quick enough to get your beers that are on the shelves.
Make sure you leave with some beers. But no, like when you buy a sandwich here, you're buying a sandwich from one spot, using the bread from another spot, using the pesto from somewhere else. So it's all sort of circular in that way, and we try to do that as much as possible. That's
super, super important the way I see it. So, and even more so now that things are slowly reopening, stay here.
Yeah, support your local businesses.
I know as much as I'd love to go to Vermont or Saratoga Springs or New York City, I'm going to spend my money here first. So, but that's me. Like I speak and I vote with my money. So
yeah, for sure.
That's it. Beer number 4 is the one you mentioned earlier, Hippie Rock.
Hippie Rock, yeah. So Hippie Rock is nothing overly complicated. I mean, it's a really good beer, but just Mosaic and Citra. So double IPA, 8% double IPA. Sometimes we like to go crazy with hop profiles. Tons of breweries like to get crazy with hop profiles. We just always found that Citra and Mosaic work perfectly well for the style. So it's just no bullshit, straight to the point double IPA.
The nose is beautiful.
It's a great, we really worked on the water profile, everything to get the best mouthfeel possible and still keep it drinkable. Yeah. So just one of our Broken Q and Hippie Rock would be our 2 main double IPAs, and then we sort of bring some back through both of those.
Awesome. Toast.
Cheers.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Pretty good beer, yeah. Pretty good beer.
Oh, that's 7%?
That's 8%.
That is a dangerous 8%.
Yeah, it's...
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no alcohol, no hop burn, no, it's just, it's ready to drink out of the tank.
Oh, that is a dangerous beer. That's something where, like I did a couple of weeks ago from Emporium. I'm hopeful feature interview, but it's like double IPA, double IPA, double IPA. I'm like, man, I'm feeling a little drunk, and then triple IPA. I'm like, okay, time to sleep on the floor. So,
which is good though. It's I mean, they make some really good beers at Emporium as well. So no, we try to get a variety. We might not have like a bunch of double IPAs or a bunch of hazies on tap at the same time, but the ones we do have, we try to make sure they're as good as possible. So
that is. Super smooth, very tasty, super delicious.
Very popular locally as well.
Yeah.
It's a beer that does really well. So like I said, Broken Q and Hippie Rock having those local, sort of links in terms of the name, they do well for us locally. And it seems like people outside of our immediate market appreciate them as well. So that's always nice.
That's awesome. So what's next for Saint-Camperon? Where's the future for you guys? Obviously, with things reopening, let's say, God forbid, or whatever deity you pray to, that we don't have a strong fourth wave, things get to kind of stay where they are right now and open a little more. Where do you see you guys going?
I think next for us is just learning our business under normal circumstances, because it was just a year over a year of just switching things up and having to adapt every couple of weeks. So we don't know what the on-site consumption looks like in the summer. Mm-hmm. We don't know what it looks like in the winter. We don't we have to go through those seasons and live through them to know where we stand. We've already added a couple of fermenters, a couple of 20-barrel fermenters since we opened, because we were in the fortunate position of running out of beer. And so we're hoping in the spring, after we've gone through the winter, to add a couple, another 20-barrel fermenter, another 20-barrel bright tank. We're gonna try to and do something maybe with Des Moines to make it more of a flagship beer. Although we're still discussing that. Like I said, we love our variety, and there's a couple of beers that we see that could be flagships for us. So we're gonna evaluate that, and then eventually, possibly building out the back even more, making it bigger, so to accommodate more tanks, barrels. So we're going to keep working on our barrel aging program and just traveling, drinking more great beers and creating more relations. We haven't been able to do that because all we've known is the pandemic. So we're looking forward to getting out there and meeting more people from the brewing industry.
I gotta say I'm loving it, and obviously you could see just the support from, craft beer is a niche when you think about it. I've personally switched my 50-year-old brother-in-law and my 75-year-old father into craft beer.
Yeah.
So it is drawing more people in. More people are, like I mentioned, I know I'm. It's like nailing a hammer in, but support local. That's all I ask. Because I want you guys to stay. I want Bas Canada. I want Galcius. I want you guys to be around in my store. So it's totally selfish of me, but I want to try more better beer. So
for sure,
just keep it going. So.
For sure, but it seems people are responding. We're also going to jump on an endeavor with a few different breweries that by the time this airs should be rolling out to help diversify the brewing industry. So we're launching this with 6 different breweries. Anyway, I'm gonna save the surprise for when that launches, but we're hoping that effort is going to do a lot in terms of diversifying and making the industry more, not that it's not accessible, but it can be intimidating for people if you're really not that much into craft beer and you want to start approaching it. So we're going to try to do something for that. So that's another big project of ours that's in the works.
Yeah,
and an Oktoberfest as well.
Oh.
We're planning an Oktoberfest end of September.
Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do because there's you guys, there's Cardinal. I don't know if Bose is going to come back.
Yeah. So we're closing down parts of the street, and we're hoping to have a main stage and beers from the beers would be from ourselves, Bas Canada, Gallicus, and À la Dérive. So we're hoping that's going to work, and so stay tuned for that.
I need to win the lotto so I could just have a designated driver all the time.
Yeah, there you go. So. Well, there's good good accommodations around here as well. So
sure, there's an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Worst case, I stay in Ottawa and take an Uber. So.
There you go.
Awesome. This has been fantastic. I have no other questions for you today. I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule and speaking with us today.
Sure.
Let the audience know where they can find you.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're at cinquièmebaron.com, which is all going to lead you back to the social media. But what we do prefer, we don't do online sales, we don't do much of anything online. We prefer people come here and get to experience Aylmer as a whole. Yeah, if you find time, it's a great spot to hang out. There's great beers not only here, we have beers on tap all over Principale, great beer bars and restaurants. So make it a day, make it a weekend, make it an afternoon, but swing by and check us out.
So I understand you guys have a podcast as well?
Yeah, it's a little side project we're working on. So it's called Le Deuxième Étage, the second floor, and the studio is literally the second floor of the tap room. So we've got our manager and brand ambassador Christophe, which does a vlog as well called Hops and Bros. So we gave him a platform for interviews for beer-related stuff. We're really trying to put women in beer forward with the podcast. We're trying to put forward local players as well. So it's just something that we're getting off the ground. We've got a pilot in 3 episodes now. It was hard during the pandemic to get people to come over
as also us surviving during the pandemic.
Right? Yeah, so it was a bit so it was. Episodes were rolling out like once every 2-3 months, and now we're hoping to get in the groove of things and release an episode every couple of weeks. So those we put those out on our Spotify account. We also sometimes we'll put little Spotify playlist codes on some of our cans, namely some of the mixtape ones. And if you scan those through the Spotify app, they'll lead you directly to the playlists we've created or the podcast. So it's a little extra social media thing we're doing with our Spotify account. So that's worth checking out as well.
Awesome. So all that's going to be in the show notes along with the address of the brewery. So just Google Maps it at that point. As for us, you can find us allbeerinside.com is the website. If you enjoyed the show, the notification and the subscribe button always helps us. At All Beer Inside on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.